Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. Good afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Kyle Simmons, and I am the moderator for our church. And I want to welcome you all and call to order our annual Congregational meeting. This gathering is an important time in the life of our church as we reflect on the past year, we celebrate what God has done among us, and we look ahead to the future with hope and purpose. Today we're going to hear our vision for the coming year and review the financial health of our congregation, both of which are vital in shaping how we continue to live our calling as a church family. Now, before we get started, I want to take a moment and express our gratitude to Diana Barine, who's not here this morning, but I bet she's watching. And Diana has served as the moderator of our church for the past 2 years. She's done a phenomenal job. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge that and to say thank you to her. So if Diana, in case she's watching, please show her your thanks. Okay. So I'm pleased to introduce our senior pastor, David Emery. David will be sharing with us an overview of our church's vision and some plans for the near future. So David.
So how awkward was that ending of the service today with not sure what to do? Yeah. Well, I just want to give you just a few brief highlights from last year, some things that I think we can celebrate, and then I want to talk about a few things we're going to do in the new year. I'm going to keep this very, very brief. And of course, if anybody ever wants to meet with me, talk with me, or anyone on staff, we're always available to share with you more about what we're trying to accomplish or do. But I will say this, that 2024, in every respect, was very much a tremendous year for our congregation in so many ways. If our vision and purpose is to live and love like Jesus and to live those core values, we can certainly see that those core values are certainly a driving force behind our church of radical hospitality, active transformation, theological humility, authentic community, and compassion and generosity are certainly the driving force behind our church. So you get in your hands, you have a ministry budget, okay, for this next year. But what that ministry budget is just numbers, but what it doesn't show is the impact of the giving and our time together. So let me first state, our impact in the community this last year was pretty significant. Our total giving to the community and beyond was over $250,000 in outreach dollars. And that is really significant. That is considerably more than the year before. We were able to completely underwrite the reading program in McClure for the next 2 years. We provided tornado relief to some of our statewide disciples congregations. We built a Habitat for Humanity home, and we supported many other family partners like Family Promise, Tulsa Day Center, Iron Gate, and so many more. And recently, just this last week, I was added to be an advisory board member at Eden Village. And my first meeting was on Friday, and I went, and at the end of the meeting, the director, the guy who runs the Eden Village, not the CEO, not the founder, raises his hand and says, I got one thing I want to say before we go. I want to look at David Emery, and I want to thank him for his church, because Harvard Avenue Christian Church 3 years ago was one of the first ones to buy into what we were doing, support it. And right now, they have 40 of the 63 homes on the lot built, and residents are moving in. But he said not only did they do that, but also we have tremendous support of volunteers, hands-on volunteers. And that's amazing, an amazing thing. Also, I would point out that what I love seeing is over the last 4 years, our church has just increasingly become more and more involved in the community with using our hands. Not just writing checks, but hands-on involvement in so many things in our community. As well, this last year, we did something new. We set aside $12,000 for impacting the lives of individuals who may need help with rent or food or shelter or any number of things. And we were able to help a lot of people stay in their homes because of it. Now, of that $250,000, I'd point out to you, that does not include all the other things that our church did. All the youth and children and other groups given so much of their time, energy, and to the community too. The Christmas Eve offering was not included in that $250,000 amount. The Christmas Eve offering this last year was $90,000. It's an amazing thing what that offering is going to do for Family Promise and for that ministry to help families avoid losing their homes. And the year before, it was actually $53,000. Every year we've seen it increase, and I just want to say thank you for that. That's amazing. We've also seen a significant year in our family ministries. We added 3 full-time staff thanks to Danny Morgan and her search team. We added 3 great people. Those ministries are taking off and soaring. 2 weeks ago, we had 17 children between the ages of 3 and 5 in one class. And youth group, children's ministry, great. Those are going great. Congregational care continues to be an emphasis for us. One of the things that's interesting right now in the life of our church is that we are a church that is growing younger and growing older. And that presents itself with unique challenges. The congregational care aspect in the last year was significant. And I love the way this church continues to care for people when they're sick, hospitalized, going through times of need. And last year we lost 19 members to our church. And we led memorial services for those members, cared for those families. That's a significant, important ministry of our church. We also saw significant improvement to our facilities last year. A lot of deferred maintenance. Our building is more than 10 years old. We replaced a lot of the doors. We got a new roof on the building, multiple other things, painting, messaging, signage, all that stuff so critically important to our church. And I will say this, our building, if you drive by here any day of the week, there are people here. This building is a vital resource and ministry, not just to our church, but to our entire community. We have a growing number of AA groups that meet here. Once a month, we have 300 people here on a Saturday night for a large AA meeting. We've also seen great growth in the endowment. I don't remember what it was when I arrived, but I think it was somewhere around $300,000. And this year, we've gone over $1 million in our endowment. It's significant. And we know that in the future, as our church grows younger and grows older, those endowment resources are going to become more and more important to the church. What those endowment resources make possible for us is the ability to expand the ministry of the church beyond our operational budget. To expand our ministry, our outreach ministries, our evangelism ministries, and so on. Through that, this last year, the endowment was able to pay for a couple things that I want to mention. One is our growing outreach to our community and to our youth. It allowed us to completely renovate the youth space. And that was paid for by the endowment. Also, today we had 25 people upstairs in a class that we've been working on for 24 months. And we produced this beautiful video curriculum. Johnny was in that class today, weren't you, Johnny? Johnny's one of our... There was 26 things. Johnny made number 26. Johnny's very new to our church. Thank you, Johnny. That's awesome. So that is a ministry. So when you join Harvard and you go to Donuts with David, what's the next step? And it's about developing leaders, helping people become more familiar with our mission and our values. And that's what that class is for, and it'll be offered quarterly. And today was the first time. And all those resources were provided for. We could not have done that without the endowment. And I want to say to you, there's no reason There's no reason. Is it enough emphasis? Jason, who's one of our trustees, Jason Dent, Ryan Bouchon, and Hank Leonard. Where's Hank? Trustee. There's no reason why every person in this room should not include the church in their will and estate. It's easy to do. And when you're gone, the ministry of the church is going to be another 100 years in this community. Teresa and I are including the church in our will and estate, and I hope that you will too. Anyway, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, right? Was that enough of a commercial there? Good. Anyway. So the other is our core values. Whenever we talk to people about our church, our core values for our congregation continue to drive the growth of our church. Let me just give you some numbers. I know it's not always about numbers, but it's about people. But we added 95 new people to our church last year who joined our church. And since in the last 40 months, we've had 300 people join our church. We dedicated more than a dozen children last year. Worship attendance from 2022 to 2024 has grown from 331 to 423 last year. Easter 2024 was the largest attendance in Easters in the history of our church. We were one person shy of 1,000. If Johnny, you'd have been here, there'd have been 1,000. You got this year. And Christmas Eve, again, over 900 people for Christmas Eve. And these are not just numbers. These are people, families, individuals, older people, younger people. Our purpose primarily is to make disciples of Jesus. Okay, 2025. 2025 is going to be another year of us focusing on core values and core practices. That's what we just spent the last 4 weeks doing. As a development for our church, teaching them to our youth, to our children, about who we are and how we serve our community. We're going to continue this Ready for More program, which is going to be a focus through this year and continue to develop that. One of our goals this year is to engage more people in serving in the church and outside the church, and also in group life. Here in Lent, we're going to begin. Have you noticed I've been preaching through the Gospel of Matthew for several weeks? I hope so. But in Lent, we're going to engage you. We're putting together a study guide for Lent. That is going to walk you all the way. We're going to all read Matthew together. We're going to have a study guide available for that. Easter Sunday in 2025 is going to be a pretty significant opportunity and a challenge. How do you get 1,200 people in this room on Easter Sunday? Somebody please tell me. But based on what we know, and because people want to be here on Easter, we're going to have 3 services on Easter Sunday, 8:15, 9:30, and 11. And so our staff met last week for an hour and a half to talk about how do we make that work? How do we make the parking lot work? How do we make space for people? Because we want to be able to welcome people to our church to hear the good news of the gospel. Children and youth and families are going to continue to be grown and expanded in our church, a focus for our church. This will be the first year with the full team on board. We want to continue to grow in our community outreach, more people, more hands, and focus on family promise. And this is an exciting new thing. We are going to be completely funding today with this budget, and with your approval, the Clergy Leadership Residency Program. What is that? The Christian Church Disciples of Christ, our beloved denomination, has been the most rapidly declining denomination in the mainline Protestant church. 74% decline over a period of time. All churches are declining. And 60% of our churches are now under 40 people. We're one of the top 16 larger disciples churches. This is something that we know that what we have to offer as disciples to our community is significant and important. I believe and we believe that the way that we reach our communities is through leadership. You train a leader, you grow a church. Churches growing, being revitalized, comes through leadership development. And so what we're going to do this next year is we're going to launch a 3-year clergy leadership residency program. And that clergy leadership residency program is going to be calling a resident that we are going to plant in a partner congregation. And that resident is going to get coaching from our staff, from us, from me on how to grow and develop and build a church. And then we're going to coach the church. The church has to also put resources into it, and they have to take coaching or it doesn't work. And so we're going to start that program here in Tulsa with First Christian Church of Broken Arrow. Their congregation has already voted to participate in the program, because I will tell you, it would be a crying shame to see a church like First Christian Church of Broken Arrow on one of the busiest streets in Tulsa close, when God has gifted us with resources and talents and the ability to train leaders. So that's going to be a significant focus for us in the coming year. And also, we have hired an architect for our church, and the architect is going to be, we're not planning on building anything now. We need more children's space now. But we've hired an architect, CJC. CJC Architects are going to help us put together a master site plan. You know, what do we do with what we have? How do we maximize how can we make the most of what we have? And if we were going to add something, what would it look like? So we're excited about that. Finally, I just want to say, we have a great staff and an amazing staff of people who love you and love our church, and I'm so grateful to serve with all of them. It's an honor and a privilege to serve with that team. It's also an honor and a privilege to serve with Kyle and Allison and Diana and Susan Hollingsworth, who served with us, and all those others who will be serving this year. We have a great group of deacons, and we have elders who are very devoted behind the scenes, making calls and doing congregational care. And we have a great church. I'm really excited about the year ahead.
I am Allison Haney. One of David's duties was to have introduced me, but I guess he just thought everybody knew me, so. He's so excited about 25. So I'm not sure who's running, but if this is the last of my slides, so we'll have to go back a few. So I am Allison Haney, and I am honored to be the treasurer for this current term. I served with Diana as moderator, and whoa, that is a force to be reckoned with. She is amazing. And this year, Kyle is our moderator, and I'm really excited to serve with him and Kathy and Grant. So thank you all for being here and showing your concern and interest in our congregation and our church. I wanted to give you kind of a walkthrough on how do we come up with this budget. What you received is a single page, because we figured most people don't want to get into all the weeds, but it's a 5-page line item budget. And it starts with staff. So they review the current expenses. They start in early November, late October, looking at where have they spent money, where would they light, where do they need more, what do they want to do for next year. So they start working on it at that point, and then David and Kevin and John, our business manager, meet with each individual leader and like Bud to see okay, what do we need for the facilities? What do we need for youth, for children's? What are we hoping to accomplish this year? And after that, several meetings, really fleshing things out, They come together with the whole budget and present it to the executive leadership team. So then the ELT, they go through the same process. What do you mean you need this much money? What? We only spent 5,000. Why do you need 10? I mean, as David has always said, if anybody thinks the ELT is just a group of yes men, they are totally wrong. We take our responsibility as stewards very seriously. I know that you all know that, but so we really push back, get down to the nitty gritty and say, hey, this is great. It's in line with our vision. This will support our ministries and make Harvard Avenue an even better church. Then we present it to the ministry leadership team, which is composed, the ELT is 4 people, the ministry leadership team, I don't know, 12 or 15, from different leadership positions within the church. Then they approve it, which they have, and have recommended it to be proposed to all of you. The finance team is the final little group that looks over it, and we met last week, and the finance team is also in support of this budget. That's what goes into getting to this point. We start with expenses, but we can't meet those expenses without the funding. And that's where the stewardship team comes in. In 2024, Grant Moore, the leader of the stewardship team, had a really great program. I hope a lot of you participated in the Glad and Generous dinners. I hope we continue to do that. So go back one, please, to the one right before here. So as the stewardship team is working and we're getting pledges in, our business manager, John, starts looking at, okay, where are we? How many cards have come in? What was, does all the fun analytical stuff that we in accounting like to do. And that's how we can know that, okay, what the staff has recommended and what they would like to see, we can actually make that happen. So thanks again to Grant and his team. It was really a great outcome this year. What we have here is pledged contributions, $1,687,000, which was higher than our previous year. The other contributions, these are those items that are new people who come in, anonymous giving, just in the plate. Thank you, I don't read lips. Okay, is that better? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Other contributions, there are people, throughout the year who come up to David and say, hey, I've got a little extra money, what can I do? And so those things go into there. Then miscellaneous income, it's not much, but we do get some money for people who use the building, and also interest on our cash that we have invested in certificates of deposit. So this is where we're budgeting to come in, a little over $2 million. I do want to point out that we actually got like 97% of our pledged donations from 23 that we received in 24. That's astounding. So we appreciate that commitment. Okay, next slide then, please. Here are the expenses, and like I said, this is condensed. There's 2 large things on here I think that most people are, 3 people are really interested in. First is outreach. We did increase the budget for outreach. David spoke about everything that we do with our dollars, and that's just a fraction of what we do as a congregation, including our hands. But we do have the outreach. We've made a significant impact in the community, and will continue to do so. Secondly is kind of this, there's 3 lines here: family ministries, children's ministries, youth ministries. We've got about $130,000 budgeted for those 3 ministries, after only spending about $76,000 this prior year. Now, Obviously, that's because we weren't fully staffed this year. But I want you to be aware of how critical we see those ministries for the success of our church, for the growth of our church, but the impact that that does have on our community, with our children talking to their best friends about how much they love church, with our youth inviting their friends, and spreading the word and the love of Jesus to other families. A lot of people come here because of what they've heard about our family ministries. So Denise and Kayla and Lindsay have worked together to determine what they're going to do going forward. I think you'll see more continuity as children go from babies to the children up into youth. Like this next program we're having, we're talking about emotions, and that's important for all ages, and they're all different, right? So that's a significant jump that we'll see. Property and general operations, that's gone down a little bit, but that is significant. Like David said, our building is over 10 years old. There are things there's been delayed maintenance and things we need to take care of. And a lot of that stuff is expensive, and we need to be prepared for things and be taking care of things as we go along. Our deductible for our insurance has gone up dramatically. So if we're hit with a tornado, we're putting money aside to help with that, because now it's 2% of the value. So we've been lucky so far, but that deductible has really climbed. Finally, people want to know, what's this large number net compensation? The net compensation is about 49% of our budget. According to vanderbloemen.com, the average church uses 52% of the budget for compensation. It ranges from 46 to 60, and a healthy one is in the low 50s. With all that we're doing, with all our fabulous staff, we come in at 49%. We have about 15, I think, looking at the org chart, employees. We also will allocate some of these people, like we do have nursery workers. They are in family ministries in that section. Musicians, you see that expense in traditional music and modern music, because we want to show the cost of those ministries. We did allocate some money this year to provide a cost of living adjustment to our staff of 2.5%, which is the Social Security COLA this year. And then we also have a little bit set aside to determine what we need to do, if we need to add a retirement plan for our non-ministerial staff, if we need to help with health insurance. The Personnel Committee will be looking into that. So, obviously our staff is vital to our success, and we feel it's important to take care of them, right, and keep them happy here. One thing that I wanted to tell you that is not on the sheet that you received ahead of time, and I apologize, is in '24, our income exceeded our expenses by about $247,000. Of that, we've allocated $150,000 to go in a reserved fund strictly for the master site plan that David spoke about, and other property and facilities needs that come up. Whether it's this year or future years, it will be in that fund for that purpose only. The remainder we've kept unreserved to be able to use for whatever needs come up, as things do. This is what we're proposing. We're proposing we expect it to come in. Well, we're budgeting $77,681 income over expenses. We've been fortunate so far to come in higher, but that's where we think we look after a lot of prayer, consideration, and discussion. Does anybody have any questions? I do want to thank the people that asked questions ahead of time. That was neat to see, and Kevin graciously replied for us. Okay, I would like to ask if somebody will propose that we approve this budget. Moved and seconded. Okay, Grant, you'll need to get those names because I don't know them for the minutes. Yeah, so Grant's back there if you could let him know who or holler your name out. Hi, Hank. Did you second? Yes. Hank seconded. I'm sorry, what's your name, sir? Okay, did you catch? Okay, great. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this budget. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? All right, the budget is approved. Thank you all for your attention. Kyle's going to come up here with a few more closing words.
All right, thank you all. I just want to sort of close by saying thank you to all of you for being here, and what a joy it is to serve alongside all of you in this church. So thank you. So let's conclude in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude for all that you've done in our church in this past year. We thank you for your presence and your provision. And in the year ahead, we ask that you lead us in your wisdom, fill us with your love, and strengthen us to serve faithfully. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I need a motion to conclude the meeting. Do I have anyone who will provide that? Anyone? We got one, and then I need a second. All right. Tell your names to Grant. Thank you all, and go in peace.